on to the practical side of today's session, where we're going to focus on how to manage your customers and products through FIGJAM's SFA web interface. We'll be using all the various import and export functionalities and other elements of the user interface to do bulk creation or edits of data sets, as well as other little elements to remove or edit various specific records one at a time. I'd like to mention that if we run an integrated platform to your ERP, these processes will become automated. Any functions or configurations that you set on your ERP will automatically sync down to FIGJAM. Our FIGJAM system will sync to your ERP on a daily basis, and obviously what that's going to do is streamline the entire process, create huge efficiencies around the automation of these, and obviously alleviate any manual intervention to ensure that customer and product data sets are updated. With that said, we are going to take a look at an outlook of an unintegrated instance of FIGJAM, whereby you do need your back office personnel to step in and make sure that the system is always updated with the right customer and product data. So to begin, we'll start off with the stores, or otherwise known as customers. I'm in a blank platform at the moment, so what we need to do are create some stores. Up at the top there are the various import and export buttons where we can get templates or get the Excel files. There's also a button to create a new customer record one at a time, which we'll jump into later down the line. What I've done is I've taken the opportunity to pre-fill out one of the import files for customers. Your column A of your store ID, this will be system generated by FIGJAM. So when you do your first importation, please always leave that blank. Our system creates a unique identifier for that record on the database. But what you do need to fill in is any field that has the asterisk above its, or next to its name, I rather say, such as those fields. We need some data entry of some sort, whether it just be a dash in cases where we may not know what the suburb or city is, or even better, if we've got the full data attribute for that field, that would be fantastic. So the key columns around here, or fields, we've got our store name, a retailer, which is a group of customers under an umbrella. The obvious ones are in the retail, FMCG retail, or pharmaceuticals, where you've got maybe groups of pharmacies or operating under one name but different branches. That's effectively what a retailer is, so just apply the terminology to your industry or your sector. In cases where it is just a one shop or one customer on its own, a very common way of setting a retailing chain or group is simply calling it an independent. Our targets, these are generally set on either dollar terms or volumes such as kgs at the end of it. So you could set that accordingly. Your target might be $1,000 and the unit is $1, for example. If you've got the emails, it's great to put those in, but they're not compulsory, same as the telephones for your customers. However, what is compulsory is all the address line items, such as the country, the province, the suburb, the city, and the street. The more attributes we have around this, the better reporting can be. And if we do some more in-depth reporting for you, we can build out certain data attributes for that. Now, the other thing that we've got here are store categories. What I did earlier on in the web portal under our category side is I've created various groups of customers, so we can once again add extra data attributes to them, and it really helps on a reporting level and grouping. You can leave your modified date blank for the first time you do an import. Our system will generate that thereafter. And then here's where you turn on or off a customer record. Having the latitude and longitude is really great, particularly if you're using some of our other functionalities such as geofencing or navigation, routing, and so forth. And then lastly, you can have a contact person name and number at the end. What I'd also like to mention is we work with the .csv file, which is a comma separated value. And what that means is any commas within, say, your street address, you would need to remove, otherwise the system won't accept that correctly. So very important to remove all commas. All other special characters should be fine to import into the system, but just be cognizant of a comma needs to be removed before you import it to the system. When you save, ensure that you do keep it in that comma separated value file, sometimes comment eliminated. At this point, you can go back across to your web portal. I'll jump to my stores, and what we can do is click import from here. I'll go up to my file, which is this one, and we tap open. We've got a few encoding types over here, but UTF-8 is the most common and the one we normally use ourselves. So once we've set that, we can click submit. It's all a pretty quick process, and it will give you a little rundown, a log history of what's happened, and if there were any errors at all, so that you can go back to fix them. Just click outside that box to now see your fill list here. Now, that's about creation of a lot of customers. Say you just want to add one and it's a bit cumbersome to fill out a full template. You can use this add new store button, and that's going to take you over here. Let's say we are at Spa Campinsa. The retailing chain might be Spa. You can fill out any targets if you wish. Set your email, telephone, however those aren't mandatory. You can set your latitude and longitudes. What's really great is you can use this map over here and then set it accordingly. For example, there. Now you can also fill out the street. Tourist road. Set a suburb. Set a city, province, and then your country. And this is where you can set your contact name. Say you're speaking with John Doe, and John Doe's contact number is 068 500 600. What I might do is just add in a telephone line here. You can also assign it to a specific user or groups of users. These are your field teams, and you can also set it with a category, for example, a key account. And once you submit, you'll get a confirmation up at the top. Now that record will be added to your customer base here. From here, you can also edit one by one. Say we wanted to edit Bonmoshe Borrowdale's details here and possibly update the telephone, and we want to go 3356689, and you can edit any other details that you'd like, and then you would submit. So that's editing one by one. Equally, you can remove any record through the red dustbin, and some web users might have the big delete all function up at the top, depending on their user permissions. Now let's say you want to do a bulk update of stores as well as import new stores at the same time. What you could do is, if it's just new stores, you can just download the import template and it'll be a clean template. Or if you want to update at the same time, you can export your stores over here. And from here, you'll see that our list of customers is all here, and you'll note that the store ID column is filled in. It's really important that you keep this intact with the rest of the records data, because when you import back into the system, our system will look at that ID and update it accordingly. So from here, if we wanted to say, just update this to PNP1, PNP2, and PNP3, we save our file, keep it in that .csv, come back to our web interface, import our stores. I'll go to my download folder. Sorry. There we go. We submit, and it will now say these have uploaded. or updated, pardon me. If you can see here, we've managed to do a bulk update. So in a recap there, I've shown you how you can do bulk creation, bulk updates, bulk deletes through this delete all button. I've also shown you through various single elements through the edit, delete button and add new store button that you can manage accordingly. You can also filter on any of these to drill down into various groups of your customers like this for easy viewing or exporting thereof. I'm now going to move across onto our products page and show you how we can run through all of this. So once again, I've got a blank page here. What I have done, similar to the customers, is I've generated product groups or categories already: soaps, coffees, porridges, beans and ground. If I take us back to our products page, very similar to the stores page, you've got all of your import and export buttons up at the top over here. And I've also taken the liberty to fill out a CSV in preparation for this. So similar to the stores, again, the product ID will be systematically generated by FIGJAM system, but what you will need to do is fill out anything that does have the asterisk next to the name. Now, an important note on your product codes is ensure that each product code is unique. It's one of the mandates of the system that product codes should be unique per product record. On your product descriptions, I always find it great to put in the selling unit that you do as part of the description. It really helps your field teams when they're placing their orders or quotations. Now, your product order is simply the order that the products will appear in the system. This can be really useful if you have your KVI lines up at the top and your slower lines down at the bottom. It means that reps, you sort of making the system more intuitive to your field teams and what they see. Obviously in the app and all, there is functionality for them to sort accordingly by alphabetical or so on. But this is one way that you can help sequence records in the system. You then list the sellable unit that it is in, the pack size that you sell in, and you put your pack price and your unit price over here. Your product pack price is not mandatory, as our system does have a calculation to work out pack price based on your pack size times your pack price. So if you do leave that blank, the system should set that for yourself. Product RRP is recommended retail price. Some people wish to have that in, not everyone else does. So you can leave that blank, it's an optional field. Your product pack weight and volumes can also be optional, and you can set them up like that. You can see I've left some blank for the purpose of the demo here. And now I've also categorized all of the products into some very basic categories here. You might have some more sophisticated categorization mechanisms, but the important part here is ensure that categories are created on the web portal side before you import them in. You can also set product barcodes or unit barcodes, and if product attract VAT or not, you can simply set those using zeros and ones. A 1 means VAT will be applied, a 0 means it's VAT exclusive. You can also import competitor product lines if you're doing any of our surveying tools such as product or pricing surveys. It's a great way to capture market intel against your competitors too, but you obviously don't want to be ordering for your competitors. So if you flag these as 0 and 1, 1 means it's a competitive product, 0 means it's your own product. And lastly, we've got the concept of adding subcategories or additional categories to products. In this case, I've set up coffee and beans and coffee and ground, 2 different types of coffee that might be associated with your product data set. And how you set that up is you ensure that both categories are created on the website, and then what you do is you put that upward slash between each of them with no spaces between, just like that. Once again, you save your file and ensure it's in your comma separated values. Ensure that there are no commas. As mentioned before, commas break the importation basically the comma will see it as a new column is being created and start splitting all your data down the line. If we pop back to the web portal, and what we click is the import product function, I'll go up to that file and we click open. As mentioned, we keep it at the UTF-8, and there we go. Up it goes. It gives us a bit of a log, and it will highlight anything that did fail. You can then click outside of that, and here is your product list. Now, very similar to the stores, you can create a product record one by one through this add new product. You can give it a specific code like that and set its description. Let's call it soap, and we sell it in 12 by 175 grams. If you want to put it in a sequence number, a certain positioning on your product ordering, you can set that here. I think I had 10 products, so I'll change that to 11. You can then set your selling unit, this might be in a pack. Set your unit price, let's say it's $2. Our pack size, we know it's 12. So if we then set our pack price at 24, you can then set any of your pack weights. Generally, I work in weights in kgs. Some people do prefer to work in grams. And your volume, recommend retail price, your pack barcode, and your unit barcode if you wish to add that. Tick this if your product does attract VAT, and tick this if it is a competitor line item. This is where you'll set the default product category, and if it had a subcategory, you do that. However, in this case, we know it's a soap. Let's maybe say this is one of our competitor soaps. So let's say it's a Dove soap. We mark it as a competitor and we submit it. There we go. Now that will be added to our list over here. Right, next what we have is how we can do some bulk edits or so forth. So as very similar to the stores, I won't go too much into it, but you can edit or delete accordingly. I'll do big bulk deletes. However, if you want to do bulk updates and edits, you download your file over here. You open it up. I'll zoom in a bit for you. You can see that the product ID has already been pre-populated. That's, as mentioned, generated from our system. And then now the rest of the things you can now edit accordingly. So let's change this from, maybe we now sell it in a pack of 48. And let's maybe take, we don't want to have the Dettol in front anymore. So let's say we edit it like that, and we want to just edit like that and like that. And then we would also want to update our pack price if that may be the case. Another great use case for this is if you are updating prices. We do have multi-price lists, which will come in a separate webinar, but if you want to update default pricing, you can also use this as a bulk management tool thereof. So what you then do is save your file and keep it in that same file format. Pop back over here, click your import products. I'll jump across to my downloads, grab my file, submit it. I'll let that run. So no changes were on those records. However, updates did happen to my Dettol lines there, and you can see up at the top, my descriptions changed to just soap, and my pack sizes and so forth have also been updated. So that now concludes the tutorial on how you can manage your products and customers in the SFA web portal. I hope you found this useful.